welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go row, go row, go row, go row, go row. And each and every sequel gets a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Trial by Combat, that is, and Tyler Hymanson.
That's right.
Or Tyler Blade, because if you fuck with the blade, you might get cut, which is a line from this movie.
Yeah.
Not might. I mean, I think you're definitely going to get cut.
Yeah.
And we are here talking about, another Mortal Kombat movie. Because, I guess Godzilla vs. Kong doing pretty well. So Warner decided to push back the release of the new Mortal Kombat movie, so we had to find something else to talk about. And luckily, there was a movie released just last year called Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge, or Mortal Kombat Legacy? Legends. Yeah,
Revenge.
Sorry. Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, whatever.
Legends, Scorpion, apostrophe S,
Scorpion's Revenge.
Yeah. Nomenclature is important with sequels.
That's right.
It's our thing.
I love how the subtitle on it sounds like a Magic Mountain roller coaster.
It does. Oh my God. You're right.
But we're not the only ones here this week. Sean Davidson is back with us. You may remember him from previous episode. He is a actor and artist and just a all-around movie buff. Friend of the show. Thanks for being back here, Sean.
Summoned back to our island for a once-in-a-generation combat.
That's right.
Thank you so much for having me again. It's really exciting to be back with you.
Yeah, I think you were on the Bride of Chucky episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was. It was a great one.
Classic.
Oh, Chucky.
We're just patiently waiting for that TV show to
Oh my God, yeah.
to show up. Well, before we get too far into things this week, Elis, where can people reach out to us?
Yeah, email us with your requests for future franchises or any other questions you might have, sequelrights@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars goes a long way for helping other people find the show, and we'd really appreciate it.
And you know what? Before we even get into the new movie, I'm curious, Sean. We've already talked about the last two movies. Do you have any affinity for the Mortal Kombat franchise, the film franchise, not the video games, the video games
Or
too.
both. Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah, as a kid of the 90s, like you guys, I was definitely very, very into Mortal Kombat. And somewhere, I think I still have a recorded VHS copy of the original Mortal Kombat movie. My stepbrothers were a lot older than me, and they had this friend Brian who was kind of like that sitcom character that just walks into someone's house who doesn't live there. He's like the friend or the neighbor, and he just appears like Kimmy Gibbler. And he would just pop up, and one day he's like, "I've got Mortal Kombat on VHS." And he had like recorded it off of a TV or something. So it was, like a year or so after it had come out. And I certainly wasn't allowed to see it in the theater, being like 7.
Yep.
So he gave me that, and I fell in love, I guess. And I watched the first one again on Easter last year. I don't know why Easter.
That sounds like a tradition. That needs to happen.
Yeah, it happened. And it's so funny that I came back to Mortal Kombat movies only a week after Easter, to record this.
Yeah, Scorpion has risen.
Yeah.
Yes. So I definitely have a history with those movies. I remember seeing the second one in the theater and being like, what the fuck is this?
Who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
But I have to say, I always, for me, very much like, I think there's like a thing of like gay children of the 90s where if it's Street Fighter that you're playing, you're Chun-Li. And then, a little later we got Cammy. And with Mortal Kombat, you were Sonya Blade. And then we got Katana and some of the others. But Sonya was my girl for a long time. And I just played Mortal Kombat 11 a little while ago just to get myself back in the...
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, if you guys played Mortal Kombat 11, then I think you're pretty much set for this week's movie. Why don't we dive right in?
Once a generation, the finest warriors must do battle to decide the fate of their realm. I, Shang Tsung, welcome you to Mortal Kombat.
If Shao Kahn wins this tournament, Earth as you know it will cease to exist.
Let Mortal Kombat begin!
I will win this tournament.
Let's see what you've got.
What is it you want?
To seek my revenge.
Get over here!
That's a fun trailer. I like that one. we don't get to hear a lot of like modern trailers, and kind of like those more than some of the cheesy old ones.
Yeah.
Based on the picture on HBO Max, I totally thought this was going to be a 3D animated movie, and then it starts and it's like an anime-esque style.
Oh yeah, because what is it? The poster that they have that kind of looks like.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd ever seen of this movie was that picture on HBO Max, and we were like, "What can we do this week?"
Were you hoping it was going to be like one of the Starship Troopers animated movies? It was going
somewhat, but then this was fine too.
It starts off
we
like
can talk
one.
about it later, but I do think that this manages to be better than the Highlander anime.
Oh yes.
But, yeah.
It did cross my mind when the film starts off with these giant ants. I was like, hey, are we watching another Starship Troopers movie?
Yeah. I thought it could have been a trailer for something else.
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. I know I'm the one that brought this up, but I want to take it all the way back to the WB animation logo.
Oh yes,
which was awesome.
What the hell? Like,
you're just
Scorpion murders Daffy Duck.
he certainly does, and I get it because I went back to look at what it normally is, and there's not like a ton of WB animation movies, obviously, but apparently in since 2018, it had been Daffy Duck jumping out and like being stupid, like he is in this one, and then Porky Pig opens the door and pulls him back in. So it's like a funny twist on that, except you have no frame of reference because I haven't seen any other WB animation movies. So I was just like, oh my God, they just killed him. Okay.
Get over here. Yeah, that was
yes, I had seen that logo before, so
okay.
that was delightful.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
You mentioned the animation style. It's as good a time as any to mention that it was done by a South Korean studio called Studio Mir, and they got their start doing a bunch of episodes of Legend of Korra. And then they did episodes for Black Dynamite and the Boondocks. Then they did the entire series of the Voltron show that's on Netflix, and Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. They're an awesome studio, and I think they did a great job with this movie.
Yeah, because I was like, it's obviously not like a Japanese anime, and I was definitely like, oh, it's like Avatar or Korra, where it's like inspired by Japanese anime, but like American style animation. Yes. But I guess it's a Korean company. But yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah,
this might be the first of the Warner Brothers animation movies I've seen that wasn't like one of the DC animated movies. I've seen a lot of those.
Yeah,
and I was like, there's a Mortal Kombat one. I didn't even know this.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I hope that they do more. I love adult animation. R-rated animated movies are fantastic, and just a genre that has not been explored to nearly the depths that I think that it could be. And I mean, spoiler alert, I had a lot of fun with this movie.
I was just sort of confused as to like why then. Or now, really, but like at 2020, because it's like that live action one clearly had to have already been, in the works. And so then they're like, we'll put out this animated one. But I mean, I don't know, because we obviously haven't seen the live action yet. But I'm sort of like, is this just like a concept art film and we're going to watch the exact same movie in live action next week?
Well, didn't the Mortal Kombat 11, did that come out last year? Or Was it this?
I
earlier
believe
this
it
year?
did.
So maybe it was like in
um,
conjunction with that.
Oh, could be.
I think there is some precedent for an animated Mortal Kombat thing coming out around the same time as a movie. Because if I remember correctly, when the first one came out, or sometime not long after, there was some kind of like Mortal Kombat animated movie and a cartoon that was on, like it wasn't Fox Kids, but it was like something like that.
Well, we neglected to talk about that because there's this one called Mortal Kombat: The Journey Begins. That's like a special feature on the original film's Blu-ray or whatever. But the animation is so awful. It's like really early, computer animation and not like the Pixar kind.
Ooh.
So it's pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Looks like Mortal Kombat 11 came out in March 2019. So it could just be a random sequencing thing with animated production timelines, because they do have to happen like 3 years before that. So, and it does definitely seem like that if, Warner Brothers was making this big push of like, hey, let's try to make Mortal Kombat, a tentpole franchise where we can do this world. Like this is definitely set up to have more movies, more Warner Brothers animated movies as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So is the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero like something that people know? Is it like in the games? And because I feel like they were friends in the last movie. They were like a team.
Were they? Weren't they specifically fighting against each other in the last movie?
I don't know about the first movie.
Okay. I was like, the last movie, they definitely fought each other. Well, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Or Sub-Zero's younger brother or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The movies don't get into like the whole Outworld, Nether Realm, Earth Realm. Like I think it's just Outworld in the first movie, and so like they're just guys in costumes. I don't think they really get into the rivalries of it, but you would be surprised how dense the lore is for Mortal Kombat 11.
I've seen the posters for the movie, and it is like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, like split. Wicked. That's my frame of reference. Split.
Yeah, they're definitely like they're from rival dojos, like they're from rival ninja clans.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the first Mortal Kombat movie kind of treated some of those characters the way some of the X-Men movies treated their villains, where it's like they have all this backstory, but we're not going to mention any of that.
Yeah. He has a helmet. It's fine.
Yeah. Like Sabretooth, Wolverine. No, they don't know each other. Mystique, he doesn't have any relation to any of these other characters.
Yeah. So funny.
It kind of like starts out, and I didn't like know what was going on. I was like, I don't know which of these people is going to become Scorpion. I kind of thought it was the kid. Like I thought the parents would get killed and the kid would grow up to be Scorpion, and then they straight up kill that kid, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was the kid as well, and then. I love how the movie starts off like pretty innocent, and then like the very first person that he attacks, he like cuts his head in half the long way, and I was like, oh my god, like immediately. And then it proceeds to be probably like the bloodiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the violence was definitely shocking in this movie in a way that I found delightful. But I mean, I did not really think that this movie would really go for it as much as it does.
It's crazy.
It really goes for it.
Yes.
I'm sure it's like a thing in other animes, and I'm just probably kind of out of the, hip, cool anime of the moment nowadays. But like the whole thing of like every time somebody like gets significantly hit, it switches to like an X-ray view of their bones.
That's actually
crushed.
From the game.
Yeah, that's from the games. Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I only played like the very first game, so I don't know. Like their bone, you see their skull going in, and so there's no doubt of whether that's like a death blow or not. You're like, oh, he's dead. Okay, like before the person's even done hitting them, you already know that guy's dead.
Yeah. The first time that happened in the movie, I was like, oh, this is a cool little reference to like Mortal Kombat 11, like seeing that person's teeth break. And then like the 1,000th time we saw it, I was like, oh, we're doing another X-ray. Okay.
Yeah. Every single time they happen, the person wouldn't be able to stand. Like they would, like their bodies do not have structural integrity to cut back to an exterior shot.
Yeah, there's that one where like Liu Kang, like all of his ribs crack into like brittle, but he's fine. He's fine. He
Yeah,
survives.
he's fine.
He survives. No big deal.
I had a note in here somewhere. Like I took notes on my phone.
Nice.
You guys take notes too, right?
I do.
Sometimes.
Okay. And there was somewhere in there where I was like, oh my gosh, this is super violent. And I was like, yeah, this is fun. And then there were moments where I was like, I don't think I want to see this thing happen to someone, or this much blood.
Like the one where the like Sub-Zero foot soldier guy gets his eyes like googly eyed popped out of his head. And he's like, I was just like, man, that is so gross. But also the animators must have been having a blast with this movie. I hope.
Yes.
Unless they're like super like, turned off by that kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to animate.
I can tell you, animators are not.
Yeah, I was like, this had to have been super fun, I would imagine. There's so much dismemberment.
So, like, right at the beginning, Satoshi, bites the dust before he can even become a Pokemon master. And then, like, his dad, like, I was like, okay, well, I guess his dad becomes Scorpion, and then he gets killed too. And so I was like, wait, who's going to become Scorpion? And then obviously it was revealed, but I was just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, because he didn't have any powers in the beginning. He was just a dude.
Just an awesome ninja.
Yeah.
The movie is called, it's called Scorpion's Revenge, right?
Right.
And then they go on to basically spend like a majority of the time remaking the first film.
Exactly. It was so much the first movie again. I was so confused.
Although there's
also,
some
I was kind
things.
of like, what was Sub-Zero's motivation to even do everything he was doing?
Well, it wasn't even Sub-Zero.
Well, I know, but like when it was happening, I was like, what is the point of him killing everybody? Like,
Yeah. I guess what was the point of Quan Chi even doing it either, honestly.
I guess to create. Yeah, well, anyway.
Just to mess with
Because he wanted
let's get to the white
realm
people.
champion.
Yeah.
Yes.
we want to hear about the actors that we know their names.
Yeah, we want Joel McHale and the lady from Dexter.
Okay, wait, we got to talk about Joel McHale because obviously Johnny Cage was like super annoying, but he was also like the best part at the same time.
Yes.
I was like, I make that joke about it remaking the first movie, but I think there's a lot of things in this one that are so much better than the original.
Much better.
And there's certain choices that they make that I'm like, why wasn't it like that in the original film? And yeah, Johnny Cage, his like character and is so funny.
First of all, he lives at BoJack Horseman's house, or he bought it after BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
And then his decor is also BoJack Horseman-esque because we get to see his other movie posters, and like I wrote some of these down, but like Ninja Mime, I mean, I want to see that movie.
Which those are also
Cage
canon.
is silent but deadly is the tagline. Oh, that's canon?
Those are in the games, yeah.
Amazing. And then the other one is ass kick as opposed to kick ass.
Yes.
Yeah. It looked like there was another one called Easy Die, but I couldn't see the full thing, but I think that's what it said. Easy Die.
I have a note in here that just says Joel McHale is great as Johnny Cage. I just, as soon as he appeared, I was like, wow, that's exactly Johnny as he should be.
Yeah.
I was really glad for that.
I thought originally at the start that he was going to be annoying. Then I just thought that his whole like thinking everything was the movie set was really funny.
It was amazing. And the movie did such a great job with it. Where like Liu Kang's just like, even to Raiden, like, why don't you say something? And he's like, he's on his own journey. Plus, I think it's funny.
Yeah, that was great. That was like one of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah. Well, and also it pays off. The movie actually does a great job paying it off when Sony is just like, oh shit, Johnny Cage can fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
He
great.
was just here to be the comic relief.
Yeah.
And he calls him Lord Randy.
Oh,
at one point. So funny. The scene on the boat. We get the, you got to take a boat to the tournament.
That's right.
And Johnny Cage is like, oh, what? You guys got a script already? Like, what the heck? And Raiden's talking about Earth Realm, and he's like, okay, Earth Realm, stupid. So funny.
I mean, we also get Sonya's backstory, which is like, her fighting someone in an alley for some reason. And in case you didn't know it was her, it makes sure to slow-mo on her dog tags.
Yeah.
It's like flying up into the camera. That says Sonya Blade, like in big letters twice, in case you didn't see it on the first dog tag. And then, when she like killed that guy for no reason, I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah. She like jams her heel into his head, and it's so gross.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whoa.
I have some feelings about Sonya in this movie. Even, she is like my go-to character.
Mm-hmm.
But I had some real problems with her in this movie. I thought she had an attitude problem. And I was like, I just hope there's like a cooler person underneath this. And we never really got to see that. And she kicked Johnny in the nuts so many times. And that time around the campfire, it was so unprovoked. I was like, that's just fucked up. Like, don't do that. There's no justification for that. He's laying down. You just go kick him in the nuts. Like, you're not heroic when you do that. Oh.
Yeah, she has kind of like her Captain Marvel flashback moment where she hears echoes of everyone going, "This is no place for a little girl."
And then there's a montage of her standing up every 5 seconds.
Yeah, so that's like that's her character trait for this one, whereas before it was that she wouldn't ask for help, but this time it's the like, I'm not a girl, like I'm a fighter.
I can do it. Yeah, so they get to this island, and they go meet all the people, and there's like a million cameos happening in the background of all the Mortal Kombat characters as they're, all hanging out in this like dojo or whatever.
Johnny has another hilarious interaction where he mistakes everything for craft surface and asks, I forget which character it is, if it's organic. And she turns into demon form. And he's like, I was just asking.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's so stupid that he thinks he's in a movie for that long.
And he's just, every single time the effects is like, fake. Like, these effects are terrible.
Yeah. He thinks he's in a movie like all the way to his first fight, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, even after Baraka tries to kill him.
Yeah. This part where they bring out Jax and he fights Goro. This is like one of the parts where I'm like, why wasn't it Jax in the first movie that gets killed by Goro? Like, Jax is in the movie, but then it's like some other random dude that is pretty much nameless.
But then also this time we didn't get like the fact that Sonya and Jax were partners. She's just like, Jax, why did you come here without me? I'm mad. And he's like, I don't know. I felt like it.
Wasn't he the flashback?
Yeah, wasn't he like the commanding officer?
God.
Yeah.
I blocked it out.
He's the one who like recruits her for the special ops team.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I mean, so the backstory in this though of him getting his arms, ripped off by Goro is way better backstory than the Annihilation movie where he was just like, I wanted metal arms.
Well, that was
cool. I thought that'd be neat.
That's what I always thought, that Jax had metal arms because his arms got ripped off, not that like he just needed better arms. Like, I always thought it was because he didn't have them in the first place.
And then it's kind of weird because he doesn't get them in this movie. Like, not that you need to use a prosthetic if you have, a severed limb of some sort. You can do whatever you want. But like, since everybody knows that's his character trait, like, it's sort of weird that he doesn't ever get them at the end of the movie. He's just there like, all right, let's go, like, with no arms.
My cauterized arms, yeah.
I assumed Jax had his arms ripped off. But this was one of the moments in the movie where I was like, I don't want to see this happen. And the way he was screaming, I was like, oh, because I just, when it's someone you don't know or care about, not that I'm like a huge Jax fan, but I like him enough. I didn't want to see what happened to him.
Well,
it was some nameless person. I'm like, yeah, fuck him up. Yeah. But then Jax is like screaming and it's so prolonged and Sonya's doing her thing too. And I was like, oh, this is rough.
Yeah, it's so detailed. All the tendons ripping and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I noticed later on, or I don't think it was that far after this, when they had him tied up in the chair, I was like, well, why did they bother to tie up his arm stump? Like, he's not going to do anything with them. What can he do? Just tie his waist.
That's a good point.
It bothered me, and I was like, I kept like looking, like, are they going to show lower? Like maybe he can do something, but no, it was just mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, if you're gonna have Goro, like he is built for ripping off limbs. That is what he's for.
Yeah, that ends up being like his signature move in this.
Yes.
And we should say that the voice of Goro is Kevin Michael Richardson, who is returning from the original film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that at first. I was like, oh, Kevin Michael Richardson, famed, voice actor, is in this movie. And then I was like, oh, he was in the original movie? Yeah. Wow, I didn't even know.
And it's actually a lot of original game voices as well. The voice of the guy who does Scorpion is the guy who does it from the game, which is fairly impressive, actually. Because I sometimes those game people that they got in 1996 weren't consummate actors. I mean, voice actors are incredible. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But everybody's really good in this movie, and I thought that even the celebrity voices, like previously mentioned with Joel McHale and everything else, they're actually voice acting. They're not just doing their voices. In this,
it's pretty good casting, I think, all around.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I wish that Joel McHale was Johnny Cage.
Who is going to be him? Do we know?
I have not looked.
I don't even know if he's in the new movie.
It looks like he's not even in it because they created some new character who is an actor that I've always found incredibly dreamy. So I'm not complaining about this new guy, but like Johnny Cage should be there.
His name is Tommy Page. There's some rights issue with Johnny Cage.
So are the Eat Me Buttercup and Toasty, are those Johnny Cage's lines?
Toasty is definitely, it's not, I don't think that's a Johnny Cage line. That was just a thing that in Mortal Kombat 3 that somebody would say if you set somebody on fire. A guy would come out and be like, Toasty.
Toasty. Yeah.
And I don't know if the Buttercup thing is or not. I don't remember.
Oh no.
I don't think so.
I remember that.
Yeah, me neither.
So we also get Katara.
Yeah.
Katana?
Who, I don't know. I guess it's good that they didn't wedge in the love story this time. But then also, as a result, she literally, almost does nothing except this one fight.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those things where it definitely feels like they're setting up, an animated Mortal Kombat universe where, that's something that's going to continue. She'll probably get her own Legends Katana's Revenge.
Katana's Fanvenge, yeah.
At least she had the good, fans this time, but I don't know, her outfit, is that what it looks like in the game, the new games?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
Yeah, not quite like that, no.
It was somehow, the fact that it was a French cut with assless chaps somehow actually made it look more revealing than if it just been a French cut leotard, the fact that it was the French cut and then also assless chaps over it. I was like, how does this look like more scandalous than if she was just wearing an aerobics, French cut outfit?
We did it, science.
I think her purpose in this one was almost exactly the same as what you talked about in the first movie. In that episode. There's no point, and the only reason you understand Katana exists in the first one is when you see the second one. And she's got more to do, and this time it was also a little bit of an info dump, and then maybe she's more important to a sequel.
Yeah, she just is bye, I yield, see you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
We get Sonya fighting Reptile, right?
Yep.
With Tyler's you're gonna get the blade.
Yeah.
You're gonna get cut. Line. Which was pretty hilarious. But he does get brutally his head ripped off pretty brutally.
Yeah.
Yes. That made me laugh.
Sonya gets her own Predator moment where she covers him in mud and able to take out Reptile.
Yeah.
That's also one of my notes. Sonya's fight with Reptile is Predator.
Yeah.
But I did love how just nasty it was of her to sever his head like that. And
So sad.
before she did that, didn't she like catch him in her legs too?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's the Sonya leg crush that she did to Kano in the first movie.
Yeah.
She did do that. I like it when she uses her legs. Oops, sorry, I'm getting notifications. I hope that didn't come through.
So popular.
No problem. Yeah, well, you've been challenged in Mortal Kombat. That's what it is. You have to get on the boat. The boat's pulling
I heard
up.
me talking.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to talk, obviously, as huge Mission Impossible fans, we've got to talk about this Tom Cruise thing.
That was a hilarious line. Johnny Cage. Oh my God. So funny.
I'm like, what was that written, or did Joel McHale just riff that part? Because he's like, I'm not Tom Cruise. I need a stunt man. I don't know how to do this shit.
Because Johnny Cage, like we mentioned, he fights Baraka, but like he is so still doesn't know what's happening, and so he's basically just dodging everything and running away. And like the entire building that they're in starts like crumbling, and he's jumping away, and he escapes. But he says that line about needing a stunt man. That's so funny.
Does, yeah.
What
else do Oh yeah. Also, he promises he'll never again complain about doing a sequel, which is great because he should not, because sequels are awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
Always come back for the sequel.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, I haven't heard your Mortal Kombat Annihilation episode yet because it hasn't come out yet. Right?
No. Yeah.
I was looking for it earlier. But as we know, he didn't really come back for that sequel.
Nope. That's what happens.
Yes, we'll talk about that at length.
That's what happens when you don't sign that contract.
Yeah, by the time this is out, that will be out also. But yes. You haven't heard it yet at the time of our recording.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of amazing how much this does remake it, and it makes it seem like I am curious. I'm very curious to see what the latest live action movie does, because it seems like it's going to be a fairly big departure from the games. But then they're going to make the animated universe have this big crazy, like, Eliz, you don't even like, it has like an Avengers level plot of like all the shit that's happening. Mortal Kombat 11 has like people coming back from time and like old versions of characters meeting newer versions of characters.
Nice.
Like Johnny Cage and Sonya are married and they have a kid. Like,
sick. Sick.
And I think that they're going to probably try to tell that whole story with these. I mean, I would actually love to see it. I'd watch more of these animated movies for sure.
I hope they.
Yeah, I mean, I saw on Wikipedia that actually made like $2.5 million or something like that just in home video.
Nice.
And it's currently the highest rated Mortal Kombat movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow. Low bar.
Yeah. Well, since I haven't heard the Annihilation episode yet, since it hasn't come out as of the time of us recording this, would you not say that Mortal Kombat Annihilation kind of makes the first one look like Gone with the Wind in comparison?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
pretty much.
Absolutely.
We did say that.
Yes, I believe the line that my exact quote was, I never thought that I would actually miss Paul W.S. Anderson, but boy, do we.
I mean, I feel like you could mount a regional theater production of Mortal Kombat Annihilation and it will be better than the movie.
Yeah. The costumes look so real.
Like, and if I'm not sure if you listen to our Highlander episodes or not, but we have love for Lambert, and so the fact that he wasn't in the second one, like my brain was immediately like, oh no, this cannot be.
Yeah,
this movie is dead to me.
Yeah, nope.
It's been so long since I saw that one. Was it John Delancey or someone?
James
like
Remar,
that?
I think. Isn't it James Remar? The guy who played Dexter's dad.
Yes, it is James. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Another Dexter connection in the Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The entire Dexter family is going to play a role in the Mortal Kombat movies.
Man.
Well, we haven't caught up with Scorpion, the lead.
Oh yeah,
the ostensible lead of this film. He wakes up in the Netherrealm, right? It's not hell, but it's Netherrealm. And he is chained up with all these blades through his arms. It's really gross. And this demon's going to torture him for forever.
Some nameless demon.
Fun.
Yep.
He's got this cool like lava blood, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Lava acid blood was sweet.
And of course, Scorpion breaks out and kills literally everybody.
Yep. Like the ants.
And gets up to, exactly. Gets up to where supposedly Chinook is supposed to be, but it's actually Quan Chi.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that. Chinook was also like, you know, in the what's that zone from like from Superman?
The negative zone.
Yeah. He was like, which is what happens to him at the end of Annihilation. He's like, you know, off in this like negative zone, forbidden. So Quan Chi wants Scorpion to be his champion for the Mortal Kombat, basically, and then try to help him get Chinook out of jail as well.
Which, like, it's not clear to me what the rules are, because, like, Outworld can get, like, it needs to win 10 times in order to be able to merge it. So, if, like, what's Quan Chi's plan? Like, he's going to win the tournament the one time, and then I guess that's going to start his run so he can win it 9 more times?
I don't know if he really cared about winning, but...
He's just trying to...
He just wanted that key.
Fuck over Shang Tsung. Okay.
Yeah.
But they do say that if he does everything they want, they're going to bring him and his family back to life.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I didn't believe for 1 second, but...
Yeah, Quan Chi makes a really Black Phillip, like, would thou like to live deliciously bargain with him.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to believe whatever the dude's saying to make him stop crushing all your bones while he's talking to you.
Also, like, so was Scorpion, before he became Scorpion, like, was he from, like, Earth Realm proper?
I guess.
Because it looked like it was, like, feudal Japan, but then when we caught up with, like, Sonya and Johnny Cage, they were living in, like, modern times.
Well, I think it's just a super secret ancient order of ninjas. No, I have no idea. Like, they're hidden, they're hidden by time.
Yeah, we don't know how long he was in demon...
or in
space
hell.
or whatever.
I was upset that, like, I thought that the chains that were holding him up, like, that was going to become his weapons, and that's how he kind of got his, like, throwing spear and stuff. But then it was just like, no, I guess, like, Quan Chi just kind of made him for him.
Yeah, they don't really explain that, and he also has like scorpion skin and stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm really rusty on like where the Scorpion's clan came from and where Sub-Zero's came from, but I always kind of thought they were from Outworld. But at least in the games, like, Outworld is so diverse in appearance, and there are like different kinds of cultures there that kind of mirror some of our own. So I always just thought it was there, but I don't know. I was confused too.
Yeah, the plot description on Wikipedia says in Japan, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because eventually he decides to, like, give up the whole goal to help them save Earth, right?
Yeah, I kind of didn't understand why Scorpion was helping them most of the time.
Well, it seemed like he had given up on the idea of bringing himself and his family back to life, and instead was going to help them, right?
I don't know.
There's a lot of battles. That's all I like. Honestly, I have like no other notes. I wrote down all the funny lines that I said already, and like the end of the movie was just like a blur.
Scorpion killing all of the like black dragon dudes is so awesome. Like the that whole fight scene with him, and then like the three like Liu Kang, Sonya, and Johnny Cage fighting all those dudes was pretty sweet. Like the action is super kinetic, and everyone's heads are getting ripped off, or you know, the Scorpion's like blade is going through like 6 people at once, and he's like pulling them all back and hitting other people. It was crazy.
Yeah, I loved that scene. I think that was maybe my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
I also loved that Shang Tsung had like a giant like Westworld map of the island that had like the different players like as little like, you know, figurines on the thing, and they like, you know, would fizzle out when they died.
It is super interesting to me why all of these movies decide that Kano's a character that needs to be in it.
And has he always had a thing?
I never liked him in the game. I've never liked him in a movie. Like, I guess it's kind of a fun, like, it's one of the only villainous humans, and so just for production reasons, you have to have that. But it's just like, okay, Kano, he has a laser eye, I guess.
They're always like,
they seem to use him as always the reason that Sonya and Jax are getting involved in this in the first place.
Yeah. And he's just a fun character to hate, I think.
Yeah. Going back to the Westworld map, that kind of raised another question that I had earlier on, which was, someone mentioned not understanding the rules of Mortal Kombat in this. And it reminded me of in the first or the original movie, at first the fights happen in front of an audience, like people are watching, and then they just happen in like the kitchen or out on the crib or something.
We talked about that.
And in this movie, I was like, so are we gonna start with spectators? Is it a free for all? And then he just like beams everyone out of the dining room. Yeah. And I was like, I don't remember Shang Tsung having the power of like Star Trek style transportation. But okay, I mean, I clearly I can suspend my disbelief with everything else we've seen. But I was like, how is it a tournament if no one's watching? Can you just tell that? Oh, I guess his thing is magical and shows, oh, this person died, so they disappear from the map. But it just seems like it would be more interesting if people were gathered around to watch.
Yeah, why isn't it more like the Olympics or something where they have like a schedule? What do the people back in Earthrealm get to watch on their TVs on NBC?
I know, like once in a generation. Just think of the television rights.
Oh my God, they could be making so much
this came
money.
This came out in 2020, so everyone had to quarantine. They had to check the Goro's home.
That's why there's no audience. That makes sense. That makes sense. You're so right. Goro.
With Kano's, after that fight where Scorpion took out all of Kano's goons, was it right after that Kano got killed? Because I watched this like 3 days ago. So
I think Scorpion doesn't take out his goons because like Kano has them in like has Jax tied up in a dungeon or something, and he unleashes all these like hell demons that are
and then Sonya gets her ass kicked, and then but needs Johnny to save her for some reason.
Yeah, Johnny finds out his purpose is to save Sonya Blade.
Yeah. Okay, no, well, I was just thinking that scene when Scorpion did like the triple through the head. Wasn't Kano like in charge of those guys at one point?
Yes. Yeah. He was in charge of those mercenaries.
Oh yeah, he is up on the second floor being like, "Hey guys."
Yeah.
Nice try.
But he did live longer than that.
Yeah, he goes past that.
Yes, okay. That was my question.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like the final battle is they get into that Liu Kang has to fight Goro. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be the final battle at least. And Liu Kang just sucks and, can't do it.
He yells a lot.
So instead, out of nowhere, right before Liu Kang's about to get his arms ripped off like Jax.
And legs.
Yes, and legs. There's this amazing like kill shot from Scorpion out of nowhere where he rips the skull out of Goro's face, but not
part of the spinal column.
Yeah. But the skin of his face remains like where it was. And it's so gross. Oh my God. I was like, oh, fuck.
Or as gratuitous as the violence and gore was in this, that might have been the biggest moment of gratuitous violence, but it was also the most entertaining to me.
Yeah.
And joyful. I wrote in my notes here, the sound of Goro getting deskulled made me laugh. The whole scene was funny to me. Hilariously gratuitous and not in a way that felt stomach turning like the Jax scene. And it was joyful,
It was great because I did not expect that to happen. And I was like, oh my God. Jesus.
Scorpion probably could have killed him in so many ways too, but he picked the most brutal, messed up way to do it.
He didn't cut off all his arms or anything.
Yeah. You got to give it to him and his creativity. like being like, what's the most messed up way I can kill him? He found it.
Yep. I loved, I was watching this movie last night and I messaged the guys in the chat like, so much blood. It's because I was just not expecting. I mean, it's an animated film. I know that there's violence and everything, but I just wasn't expecting it to go so hard. Crazy.
Yeah.
So Scorpion like dies, right?
Oh yeah, he fights Sub-Zero, the actual Sub-Zero, right?
Who never actually did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty, yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, in life, I'm sure he did, but he
Yeah.
didn't do that specific thing
Right.
for which Scorpion was looking for revenge.
That fight was also pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Just seeing everyone using their powers but yeah, they fall onto this giant spike, which I feel like, at some point, once you get Sub-Zero falling, Scorpion probably could have like gotten out of that situation. But he just
And it's
dies
like
along
if you
with
know
him.
that you can be impaled however many times and not die, you probably wouldn't want to be impaled like face down on top of your worst enemy, like in a makeout position, like
Yeah.
I think that his plan was to get his revenge and then kill himself, because he didn't want to be Quan Chi's champion. So I don't think that he thought that he would survive. And it was only when Quan Chi was really like, "You idiot, it was me," that he willed himself back to life with the spirit of the Ghost Rider.
I'm glad we didn't get like a 5-minute scene of him slowly pushing himself up off the
Yeah, right.
like Mulan or something,
Yeah.
except the pole is in his body.
Yes.
exactly. Oh god.
Yeah, it's just like 127 hours. It's 90 minutes of him getting off the spike.
I thought of the way Scorpion kind of he took out some characters that we didn't see him kill before. And I felt like in some of those cases, did he kill Kano though, or did someone else do it? I can't remember.
I think Sonya did. I mean, technically, Jax is the one who stomped him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they're like about to leave, and they're like, "Wait a minute, let me make sure this dude is dead."
Yeah, and
Crunch.
I was thinking, I was like, they boosted Scorpion's heroism so much in this that it kind of took away from some of the other characters who should have had their moments. Like Liu Kang should have won that battle at the end, but Scorpion stepped in and saved the day. And I felt like it kind of diluted the contributions of the other characters with
Definitely, especially Liu Kang.
Well, it's because
Yeah.
I mean, Liu Kang's not supposed to finish that guy. He's supposed to kill the other dude in the next movie, like they say at the end.
It was a long effort to paint Scorpion as an anti-hero, and I think that there's a lot of that's DC, Warner Animation and DC. That's their jam. That's their wheelhouse. Is those type of stories and those type of story beats. And I think that if that's your endpoint of introducing NetherRealm and kind of how these factions interplay with each other, I think that's fine. If you're like, yeah, let's make a really cool Scorpion movie. I do wonder if the way that this is titled, like I said, it's Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. If they're gonna do all these different movies for all these different characters where they're gonna get their moments. But yeah, it is weird that because it is remaking so much stuff from the first movie that they're all side characters. This is Scorpion's story, but they're still getting a lot of screen time and going through the same beats that we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, but there's moments in the movie where I'm like, Scorpion's a side character, though.
Yeah, right.
I was kind of like, I thought it was going to be like a solo Scorpion story based on the title of the film and the cover.
Yeah, when I first saw the opening, I was like, oh wow, this is just going to be like a prequel. Well, he's just a ninja the entire time.
Yeah, but it was pretty much half. It was more like it was half about Scorpion, half about the normal Mortal Kombat stuff.
Well, and also they wrap up his story.
Mm-hmm.
Like he goes, I mean, they don't come back to life, but he goes, and he's with his family now. So it's like, what are you going to do? Resurrect him in another movie and be like, oh, he had to leave them. Oh, well, I
mean, they could do anything, I guess.
I know, but it sucks from a character perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, the idea of like going into this not knowing that it was essentially a retelling of the first game was an interesting experience, because I really thought it was going to be like a prequel or something.
Me too.
And then we saw that, and I had this thought. I enjoyed it for sure, but I feel like the world of Mortal Kombat, and like all the lore of Outworld, especially, and all those different types of people they've got there, and tribes and different species and all that stuff, it's so vast, and we keep getting stuck on retelling the very first game.
Right.
And there's such a gold mine of storytelling potential there, and we're stuck on the surface a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think that's the most disappointing thing about this is like you have an animated thing, you can get to all the craziness of Outworld, and you're dealing with a lot of humans having a lot of normal conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, not to diss, DC, but like it's the same reason that people are like, why do I need to see Batman's parents die again when you have like 1,000 other characters that we could be seeing?
I know.
But those pearls, how would you know it's a tragedy if the pearls aren't falling in slow motion?
That's true, yeah.
I think it's funny because like so many people in the last, decade, so many studios and TV show creators and stuff, that they're all, for a long time, they were trying to come up with like the next Game of Thrones or something. And I was, after playing Mortal Kombat 11, when I first got it a year or two ago, and that story, the way that played out, seeing the character Jade move, she's going to go talk to this tribe and like try to unite these people. I was like, this is a built-in huge epic fantasy world that is completely untapped. And what's great about it is, unlike a lot of fantasy that we're more familiar with, it's not a fantasy world based on Western European medieval looking stuff. It's got a lot of Eastern influences, and it's got so many things to it. And there's just so much untapped potential there. And I hope someday we see much more of that and find story possibilities there.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't know, like, obviously we won't know until next week about what the plot or the ideas are in the live action film. But the fact that they have this one come out, like Warner Brothers bought the rights and they're like, okay, animated movie and live action movie. Animated one, super violent. Let's put all the blood. Let's put all the lines and the fan service, and the fans will love it no matter what. Then we'll do the live action. And if it doesn't appeal to a wider audience than just the fans, then we'll just keep making these animated ones, like, till the cows come home, like, and the live action will be done. So I think it's kind of like a smart way to hedge their bets.
I do feel like the live action now is going to be just like the same story again.
It probably is.
That's what I'm worried about. But I just hope that the action and effects are great. But we'll see, I guess.
We will find out next week, but I guess it is probably that time where we get to decide how many disembodied Goro skulls would you give Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. You must be this tall to ride this ride.
Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think I'm going to give it 8 disembodied Goro skulls because this movie was awesome. It was great. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be so uber violent. I mean, obviously the games are super violent, but I guess I just was, not that animation can't be violent. I just was not expecting it to go so hard, I guess. And it was super fun. And I was very thrilled that it was only an hour and 20 minutes. Everything clips by really fast. The action's great. Lots of creative kills, which we've come to love from the game, and it's great to see that in this film as well. And like Johnny Cage was hilarious. It's a wild improvement over the original film story for me, even if it's shorter and like kind of definitely some things cut out, but
truncated, but efficient.
I think you meant to say 120 minutes, not an hour and 20 minutes.
No, it was an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
it was not 2 hours. Yeah,
I didn't even look at the thing. I thought I just saw the 120. Okay,
I know it was an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah,
20 minutes.
Short and sweet.
Oh yeah,
which is a perfect length for a movie.
Exactly.
Right. So I'm gonna say 7 disembodied Goro heads. I don't think I liked it quite as much as you guys, but I did think it was like shockingly better than I expected. Obviously the comparison for us is sort of obvious to that Highlander anime movie, which I now own on DVD for reasons. But this, like, that was really violent too. But then this one also was like coherent. It had like a basic story that made sense, and you knew what was going on the whole time, like mostly. Like as far as the characters, their stories made logical sense. Which you would think isn't much to ask, but sometimes it is with these sequels. Yeah. And I do think that, obviously it's not 3D animation, but I do think that it was more coherent than some of those Starship Trooper sequels too.
Oh, absolutely.
So the animated ones.
Sure,
which are, what we have to compare it to. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they continue to make money off this franchise and how the live action one does in comparison.
Absolutely. It's going to be 8 for me as well. I had a ton of fun with this movie. Warner Brothers Animation does some really great work. A lot of those DC animated movies are kind of a similar thing where they're the best incarnations of most of those heroes and most of those stories that they have done to date. And yeah, this was it's paced well. The jokes are in there. It's made to be very enjoyable. I feel like that even if you didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat or didn't particularly like it, that the movie would still be entertaining and fun for you. And I hope they make more. Honestly, I would watch every single one that they make.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, before I give my number, you just reminded me of something when you mentioned Starship Troopers. When there was the whole reveal of the switcheroo with Sub-Zero, or with like it wasn't really Sub-Zero. And then there was a conversation with Shang Tsung, who's like, well, you're never going to appease your god. He's a false god, blah, blah, blah. I immediately thought of the girl that you did the sound bite of in the Starship Troopers.
Yes.
One of those movies. I was like, it's the wrong god.
It's the wrong god. Oh my god. I haven't thought about that.
It has always stuck with me. And because of that, because of the intense violence that shocked me, really, I saw things I had never seen before.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was impressed, sometimes horrified, but always impressed. And the wrong gods. I want to give it an 8 also.
Yeah.
But I want to add half of a point. Maybe I'm gonna go 8.5, just so I can include like that dangling half of Goro's spine that came out with the head.
Yes.
So we'll go 8.5.
Nice.
That's great. Man, yeah, I'm honestly, at first I was like, God damn it, they moved the schedule of the movie. That ruins everything. But now I'm like glad, because we were going to watch this movie and we got to watch it and it was super fun. So I
will say that this movie would be so much fun that at Comic-Con, they'll typically premiere some of these animated movies for fans and have them, like it'll be a panel, it'll be something out one of those days. And this one would have been so much fun to be in, a convention hall with hundreds of people. People would be losing their minds. Like this would be a really fun one to watch. It's a shame that more of these don't have theatrical runs, because it would be a lot of fun to watch this with a crowd.
Yeah, there's
super into it.
There's a really sad quote at the end of the the Wikipedia page from the screenwriter.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like, yeah, because it came out in 2020, and then the screenwriter is like, "Man, I really hope that he's like, I hope this gets a theatrical release at some point."
Yeah,
like they do a Fathom event or something.
Yeah, he's hoping for Fathom events. Aren't we all?
It's deserving. Aren't we all? Until our next Fathom event. Eliz, where can people get in touch with us?
You can get in touch with us at sequelrights@gmail.com, or find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at sequelrights.
And you can finish this episode by giving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it.
And Sean, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. It was a great time, as it was before.
Where is there anywhere people can follow you if they want to see what you're up to?
Yes, Instagram is the best place to do that. I'm Shawnee Delight 4. Sean spelled Sean, and then the Shawnee is Seanie. So that's Shawnee Delight, the number 4. That's me.
Nice.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I think next week we're finally going to be seeing the brand new Mortal Kombat movie and giving you guys our thoughts. So until then, we'll see you guys next week for Mortal Kombat 2021.